What's going on, guys? Pete Nova here with Player Profiler. And the NFL draft is officially in the books. We finally got some landing spots for some of these players, and I'm going to go over my updated rankings for the rookie running back position. So let's get into it. The number one ranked running back is going to be Ashton Jeanty out of Boise State. Look, it comes as no surprise. This guy gets top 10 draft capital. He goes sixth overall to Las Vegas Raiders, and he gets paired up with Pete Carroll, who is a guy that wants to play ground and pound football. And I really like the fit here, right? I mean, would it be nice to have seen him go to the Liam Cohen offense? Maybe a crowded room. I don't know if that would have been the best fit for him. He finds his way to the Las Vegas Raiders in a room that's wide open. And when you look at Pete Carroll's history with running backs, he averaged 454 rushing attempts per season over his 13 years with the Seattle Seahawks. And that would have ranked 16th in the NFL last season, but that would just be 13 rushes off from being ranked 10th overall in the NFL. I believe this is going to be a balanced attack. I believe they're going to lean on Ashton Jeanty with Geno Smith, and I'm excited for the landing spot. When you look at Ashton Jeanty, this was a dominant running back in college football. He forced 163 missed tackles, which led all of college football running backs. And I mean, overall, he dominated, right? His college dominator rating was 43.7, and that was good enough for 94th percentile. I really like this landing spot. He's got big playability written all over him, and he's going to be a workhorse. There is nobody in this room that's going to take opportunities away from Jeanty, and he is the clear 101 in rookie drafts and the number one running back on this list. The number two ranked running back is going to be Omarion Hampton, who lands with the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh. I absolutely love this landing spot. You know, there are going to be people out there who are going to be afraid because of Najee Harris and how much of that workload will he take away from Omarion Hampton. But this is a guy that gets first round capital. There were only two running backs in this class, and that was Ashton Jeanty and Omarion Hampton that were drafted in the first round. They did not draft this guy for him to not be their lead back. Najee Harris signed a 1-year deal worth $5 million. So this is Omarion Hampton's job to take and run with. And when you look at his productivity in college, Omarion Hampton had back-to-back 1,500-yard seasons. He's 6 foot, 221 pounds, and he's a 3-down back, right? He's going to be a guy that can be on the field in all situations. I do think Najee Harris is going to be involved, but this is not a guy in Omarion Hampton who you should be concerned about if you are drafting in your rookie drafts. Will he have a top 10 season year one? Maybe not, but he's going to be a top 10 dynasty running back asset and somebody you should be drafting. I wouldn't think twice about it. He reminds me of DeMarco Murray, and overall, a 4.46 at his size is elite speed. And I'm really excited to see him, and what he does in this offense. 67 receptions in the last 2 seasons is pretty dang good. He's got soft hands, and I think he's going to be utilized really well. It's a really, really solid offensive line with Jim Harbaugh and what they have going on there. And it's a great system, right? So I am super comfortable with him being here at the number 2 ranked running back. I think many people will have that the same, and I'm comfortable with it. Third ranked running back on this list is going to be TreVeyon Henderson out of Ohio State. Finds his way into an offense that is kind of on the uptick, right? This offense in New England has built a lot around Drake May. They bring in a new left tackle in the first round. They go ahead and bring in Morgan Moses at right tackle as well. And they go ahead and bring in a new center. I think this offensive line is going to be much improved. And TreVeyon Henderson steps into a good situation. He's going to be paired with Drake May, who we saw the flashes last year. I think the knock and the concern for people is going to be Ramondre Stevenson. Is he going to eat into that workload? I am not necessarily concerned at all. Stevenson had his issues fumbling. It's a new coaching staff. Mike Vrabel definitely had a hand and a play in picking TreVeyon Henderson. And this is a guy that, yeah, look, in most cases, he's probably going to be a 1A, 1B back to somebody else in the offense, similar to Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. But we have seen guys like him produce because of his upside with the receiving, as well as his explosiveness and big play ability. He had a 43.9% breakaway run rate, which is absolutely elite. His pass catching was one of his best assets when you watched him play college football, especially in the college football playoffs. And he fits the modern NFL offense really well, right? He's a guy that can pretty much do it all. The biggest thing for him is he's able to pass block as well. You get concerned with some of these guys that are good at being a receiving back, but it's a huge tell if they're on the field and they can't pass block. That's one thing that stuck out to him. And it's something that I think Mike Vrabel is really going to appreciate with this offense. And I'm really excited for TreVeyon Henderson. This is a guy who I have here at 3, and he's a home run hitter. He's a big play waiting to happen. I am not concerned with Ramondre Stevenson, who, yes, gets a contract extension, but I think overall the Patriots are just with all the money that they had and the lack of weapons that they had on offense. I think they were just trying to keep anything that was good here in house going into this offseason because there wasn't a lot of talent on the market this free agency, and you never know how the NFL draft is going to go. So it's wheels up for TreVeyon Henderson. I love the landing spot for him, and I'm totally excited to pick him here as the number 3 running back ranked. The number 4 running back on this list is going to be Quinshon Judkins out of Ohio State. Look, this is a guy who gets premium draft capital. He goes high in the second round, 4th overall to the Cleveland Browns. And when you look at Quinshon Judkins, if you go to Player Profiler, his best comparable player is Nick Chubb. So what better to do than pretty much have almost a clone of Nick Chubb in a Stefanski offense where we saw Nick Chubb be extremely successful. He was SEC Freshman of the Year with 1,500 yards, a breakout age of 19 years old, and a college dominator rating of 25%. Look, I think he fits into the Stefanski offense really well. The team put high draft capital into him, and there's not a lot of competition. Jerome Ford is on the last year of his deal. I know Dylan Sampson was drafted here, but I am not super concerned about Dylan Sampson, who was a day 3 pick. Overall, I really like the fit for Quinshon Judkins. The quarterback situation is a little bit of a concern. When we look at this offense last year, they were not a good team when it came to running the football, just 8 rushing touchdowns total on the year. But it had nothing to do with the system. It had everything to do with the talent. Nick Chubb was not the same guy. And we've seen what a guy with fresh legs with a lot of talent can do in Stefanski's offense. I'm really excited about it. I think when you project what he's going to do year 1, we're looking at an RB2, right, to mid RB2 upside. And, overall, if this team can go ahead and find their quarterback, they just accumulated an extra first round pick. Maybe they go ahead and get a top quarterback in next year's class. He's going to be a running back that I'm comfortable with drafting on my team. And I'm not expecting a ton from him, but I know he's going to have the volume at least year 1. I'm not expecting a ton from him, but he's going to have the volume to give you an RB2 season off the bat. I like the fit for him, and I'm excited to see how he does. 5th ranked running back on this list is going to be RJ Harvey out of UCF. RJ Harvey lands here a little bit higher than some people may have him ranked, but for me, I have him here at 5 because when you look at the draft capital, this is a guy that got high day 2 capital, 2nd round pick, 28th overall to the Denver Broncos. And when you look at Sean Payton's track record of drafting running backs with a top 100 pick, you get Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara, and Reggie Bush. He's had a very strong track record when he sees a guy at the running back position and drafts them very high. They have had a very strong hit rate. When you look at the offense that he's going to be entering, the Denver Broncos offensive line was number 1 when it came to run block win rate in 2024. The offensive line looked worse than it actually was because they did not have a strong running back there. Javonte Williams was not the same guy that we saw in years past post injury. And when you look at RJ Harvey, he fits into this offense really well. You look at his scores when it comes to the combine results. 4.4 40-yard dash was 83rd percentile for running backs. He was 88th percentile for burst score, and he's one of the most explosive playmakers at the running back position in this class. 8.2 yards per carry on outside runs would have ranked number 1 in college football last year. And outside of TreVeyon Henderson is the only guy who had more 15-plus yard runs in college football last year. 69 forced missed tackles. If you can't tell, I'm extremely high in RJ Harvey. I was very high on him pre-draft, and now when we got the landing spot, I'm even higher than I was before. I love the fit for RJ Harvey, and I think this is a smash spot for him to produce for Dynasty football. Next ranked running back on this list is going to be Kaleb Johnson out of Iowa. This is a guy that gets day two capital, right? Third round pick, 19th overall in the third round, and he finds himself with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, when you look at Kaleb Johnson, he ran a 4.57 40-yard dash, which was a little bit slower than people had hoped for, but when you look at his size at 6'1", 220 pounds, I wasn't necessarily concerned. A guy like that running a 4.57 is totally fine. And I don't put a lot of stock in the 40-yard dash. When you look at this guy, he was number one in breakaway run rate in college football last year. And he fits into the Steelers offense pretty well, right? Najee Harris with the Steelers since 2021 to 2024 had 1,277 carries, which was the most of all running backs in the NFL. Volume's going to be key for Kaleb Johnson. This is a guy that does not catch a ton of passes. 22 catches last season was a career high in college for him. And is that a product of him not being able to do it? Or is it a product of this Iowa offense does not throw with the football a ton, especially not to the running back position? But when you look at Kaleb Johnson, he was successful with his opportunities. He faced 7.1 box defenders on average, which was second most in this class. But when he had light boxes, he ranked number one in yards per carry with 9.8 last season. I think it's a good fit for Kaleb Johnson. If you're looking for a guy who's going to produce year one, I definitely think we're going to get that. I just worry about his ceiling being capped a little bit in the receiving game. This team does have Jaylen Warren, who won't be there forever. His contract ends after this season. But how much third down work does Kaleb Johnson get? Is he going to be touchdown and volume dependent? We will see. But that's why I have him behind RJ Harvey here as my sixth ranked running back. Seventh ranked running back on this list is going to be Cam Skattebo. This is probably one of my favorite landing spots that we got for the running back position. He goes to the New York Giants in the fourth round, third overall. And look, we don't get day two capital, but we get high-end third day capital. And when you look at Cam Skattebo, a 40% college dominator rating, 89th percentile burst score, and this is a guy who has great vision and powerful legs, and it's something that this Giants offense has been lacking. I know Tyrone Tracy, people were excited about him last year, but he wasn't very effective on the ground. Some of that could have been due to the quarterback situation, which is nice to see that the Giants have three capable quarterbacks in Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson, as well as Jackson Dart. But when you look at this offensive rushing game from last year, the Giants ranked 30th in EPA per rush, 31st in success rate. It was not an explosive rushing attack either, ranking 26th. And Cam Skattebo provides elite hands. He was second in forced missed tackles behind Ashton Jeanty. On 30% of his carries, he forced a missed tackle. And this guy had 45 receptions in 2024. That's why I am most concerned about Tyrone Tracy, because Cam Skattebo can do what Tyrone Tracy did for the Giants last year and better. This is a guy that can be a 3-down workhorse for them. He's going to be able to bring some grit to a team that is dying for some toughness in this building. I was very tempted to put him over Kaleb Johnson here. I love the landing spot that much. And when we look at opportunity and draft costs, Cam Skattebo is going to be somewhere around a mid-second round pick, where Kaleb Johnson likely back end of the first round. I would be totally fine on passing on Kaleb Johnson and drafting Cam Skattebo just because of how much it's going to cost you. And I like the opportunity for Cam Skattebo, and I really think this is a good fit for him in Dynasty. The number 8 running back on this list is going to be Bhayshul Tuten, running back out of Virginia Tech. This is a guy that gets day 3 capital, but he gets high-end day 3 capital as he was the second overall pick in the fourth round. He finds himself with the Jacksonville Jaguars and Liam Cohen with this new offense, right? They have completely upgraded that offense. The biggest concern with that offense is really the offensive line. But overall, I really like the landing spot when you look at what Tuten was able to do in college and what he showcased at the combine and just the fit overall. This is a guy that at the combine ran a 4.32 40-yard dash, which was the 100th percentile, right? 97th percentile burst score, 98th percentile speed score, 6.4 yards per carry with a 38.3 college dominator rating. He finds himself in Liam Cohen's offense, who had 121 targets to the running back position last season. And we saw what he did with Rashad White. We saw what he did with Bucky Irving and Sean Tucker in the mix. He joins a running back room with Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby, which might feel a little bit muddy. But at the same time, this was a guy that was handpicked by Liam Cohen. And on top of it, those two other guys are from the previous regime. And I think one of them is more likely to be odd man out here. Tuten is going to have a role in this offense. I feel pretty confident about that. And it's going to be really Tank Bigsby or ETN, which one of those guys, is kind of the odd man out. I expect it to be close to a 50-50 split between Tuten and the other guy. But overall, I really like this fit. We've seen running backs produce in Liam Cohen's offense. And I think it's going to be a really solid landing spot overall. Excited to see Tuten, who is likely going to be going somewhere at the back of the second round to early third round is where I project him to go. And I've done a couple of rookie mock drafts, and that's where he's going right now. I like the price tag on him. I think he's going to be a guy that provides high upside, and he's somebody that I'd be targeting in my rookie drafts. At number 9, we have Tahj Brooks, running back out of Texas Tech. Tahj finds himself with the Cincinnati Bengals as a possible running mate next to Chase Brown. This guy went round 6, 17th overall. And in college, you look at him, he had 1,505 rushing yards last season, 18 total touchdowns, 199 receiving yards, 5.3 yards per carry with a 30% college dominator rating. This is a guy that forced 154 missed tackles since 2023. That's the fourth most in college football. When you look at this room with Chase Brown, who had a lot of touches last season, I don't personally think that they want to give him a full workload. Now, Chase Brown was a guy I was worried about, and I will say he was a winner this draft season, but I still like this landing spot for Tahj Brooks. He lands in an offense that's one of the best in the NFL, that has a defense that's going to force them to be in high scoring games. This is a guy that can catch the football. And honestly, Chase Brown is a guy that I just don't see as a 3-down back. So Tahj Brooks, if he can beat out Zach Moss, can find himself in a really good situation here. I like the fit a lot. Maybe I'm a little bit higher on him than most, but I just like the fit in this offense. I like the possibility of getting opportunities in this offense behind a guy who is not the biggest back, who suffered an injury towards the end of last season. And I just think Tahj Brooks fits well with what they have going on in Cincinnati. And he's going to be my number 9th running back on this list. At number 10, the last running back on this list is going to be Jaydon Blue out of Texas. He finds a home with the Dallas Cowboys, 5th round pick, 11th overall in the 5th round. And this is a guy who ran a 4.43 40-yard dash, very fast, sub 200 pounds. But for a guy his size, 73% of his rushing yards were actually after contact. He's a really good receiving back, 25% target rate, was second in his class. And I really like the fit for him here. The reason I have him this high over guys like Dylan Sampson and maybe some other guys like ETN is just because of the landing spot, right? Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders are guys that I just don't expect to be able to hold on to the starting role if there's a good, capable back behind him. And I think he's going to fit in and mix well. The only concern is Javonte is a really good pass protecting back. And if Jaydon Blue is going to be a guy that catches the football, he's going to have to be good at pass pro, because that's something that Javonte did really well, which was able to get him onto the field in Denver last year, even when he wasn't producing on the ground. But Jaydon Blue finds himself in a wide open room, in my opinion, and he's a sneaky player here. So I have him here at number 10 to finish up my rankings. But that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time.